Hello guys, Mr. Fluffy Pants here, and today guys, another video, and today guys, I'm going to be reviewing a Netflix show, which is actually another Netflix superhero show, which, yeah, I know there's a lot, but, this one looked really interesting to me, and I didn't really, it didn't really catch my eye till the day before it released, and, I'm a little late filming this video, so, my memory, on certain aspects of the show is a little fuzzy, because it's been a few days since I watched it, but I've just been extremely busy lately, but that is Jupiter's Legacy, which, stars Josh Duhamel, which also made me really want to watch it, because, I love Josh Duhamel from the Transformers movies, and, some other movies he's in, but Jupiter's Legacy is actually, I thought it was like just some new idea, or like they created it just for the show, but it does turn out it was a comic book, which is interesting, but because I've never even heard of it. I heard of The Boys a little bit, like slightly before that show came out, but like I've never heard Jupiter's Legacy or any of these characters, which is definitely very interesting. Also, this will contain spoilers since it's been so long since it came out, it's 8 episodes or whatnot, but pretty much, Jupiter's Legacy follows these, kind of the older age of, superheroes and, their kids and how they're having to live up to their the legacy or whatnot, which, right there in the show title. But, also the show does something really interesting is it shows the origin story for the original heroes like Utopia, Lady Liberty, Brainwave, all of them. I don't really remember all their names, but Josh Duhamel plays, the Utopian, which I think is kind of a cool name for, kind of like the Superman kind of one of the group or not, but, it also follows, like, a lot of their kids, which is, interesting, which, like a running storyline, on their daughter Chloe, throughout the, thing, and, how their son, is supposed to be the next Utopian, but, also, there's that, also the battle at the end of, I think it was episode 1. That was a pretty cool battle, but I do agree, it kind of did look like a CW kind of, filming it wise and all that, which I will admit that. But, there is some gruesome stuff in there, like some people getting, like, just straight up holes blew through them and all that, but, whenever, Paragon just straight up bashes the head, because, one of the parts of the code, which, is, like, the main idea of conflict throughout the entire show, the code, which is, like, hey, you cannot kill the supervillains even if they're trying to kill you, even in self-defense, which, just kind of, because, even they say throughout the show, the world's changed, and, so do we, but the part of the show I found the most interesting and that I love you more, because, the whole modern day storyline, I'm kind of like, I mean, it's kind of hit or miss, but the part, like, I was waiting for it to come back on is throughout the entire first season, we get flashbacks to the, origin story, and that origin story is one of the most unique, and I love it so much, like, that's the whole reason I kept watching shows for the origin story. So there's a season 2, I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not. I mean, I'll probably watch it, but the whole reason I kept watching this first season was for that origin story back in the 1930s or 29 or whatnot during the Great Depression, which I think is such an interesting time for, there to be like a superhero origin or whatnot. But pretty much during the Great Depression, they owned the steel mill, Walt and Sheldon, Utopian and Brainwave, because they're brothers, which, I love Walt so much, but, so pretty much their father jumps off the building because he's like, I'm going to lose all my money, blah, 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 and, they go, like, his father comes back to haunt Shelton, and, like, he gets, like, these seizures and these visions, of, like, this farm, and, like, and also, I'm a sucker for, like, kind of, like, travel, kind of adventure movies, like, the adventure of a lifetime kind of movies, and that's what, this backstory is reminiscent of, and it's also a superhero movie, and also a timepiece. I just love it so much, but, pretty much, he sees this, vision of this farm, and he travels out out west in, like, Kansas or whatnot, and then everybody, around him thinks he's, like, cuckoo, which, back then, yeah, they would throw you in an asylum in a hurry, but, he actually does make it to this farm, out west or whatnot, and he meets this guy, and he's like, the guy's pretty much loony, but he tells him about how there's this, when he was back in the war, there was, like, this, their ship got caught in the storm, but the storm kind of was omnificent, I guess. It was aware, it was, trying to get them or whatnot, and, he was the one who survived, but, and then, the guy shoots himself, and then he goes down, and, Sheldon goes down in the basement, sees, this group of people, including people he knows, like his brother and his friend, I forgot his friend's name, but Sky Fox or whatnot later. But which I hope we get to see more of him in season 2 because I did enjoy his character quite a bit, especially back in the 1929 storyline or whatnot. But and then he's on this mission to go where these coordinates are because he thinks there's something bigger than all of them there, and especially a bunch of conflict here and there, and eventually let's just say they gather up their group of people or whatnot, they sail over there, and then there's this mysterious after they get through the storm, which actually ends whenever the main character's like feuding kind of ends or whatnot, which I think is kind of poetic or whatnot. But they get to this island and there's a bunch of tribulations and stuff. And I do think it's kind of cool, the history of the island. You see like Vikings and stuff that didn't make it through, but at the end, I will say the payoff for the journey like pays off good. Like whenever they put all their hands on the wall and it starts to lighten up, they're like, "Hey, y'all got to put y'all's differences aside, for this or whatnot." They're like, "Oh, okay," and then the lights and they're transferred to. And I don't think it was on Jupiter because it seemed like the moon, like a moon of Jupiter, because you saw Jupiter in the background, but and pretty much all of them see like a lost loved one. They see which one of my favorite moments is when Sheldon's like, "Oh no," he's going crazy because his dad's been haunting him throughout the movie, like in a bad way. He sees his dad, he's like, "Oh no, I see him," and then Walt's like, "No, I see him too," and then everybody else sees who they kind of want to see or whatnot. But and throughout the 1929 storyline, like during the modern day storyline, it seems like Walt and Sheldon are like good brothers or whatnot. But as we start getting more deeper into the season, we see more of the 1929 timeline. Like we kind of see that their relationship's not all that seems, and there's definitely some resentment there, in which that ties into the twist at the end of the series that Sky Fox was not behind all this rebuilding. I forgot the bad guy's name, but it's like he clones the bad guy, which I love that bad guy. God, I forgot his name. I don't even remember, but he's behind that. They're like, "Oh, Sky Fox is behind it." And, there's like this huge battle between Sky Fox, Lady Liberty, and the mind of the clone or whatnot. Which at the end of the series, he reveals to his daughter, forgot her name, but he pretty much kills her too because he slits her throat because she's a telepath like him. He's like, "Oh, I know what you're up to," and he's like, "Oh yeah," but pretty much he was the one orchestrating this whole thing. He's pretty much tired of living in his brother's shadow, and he thinks that the code is stupid or whatnot. And he's like, "Hey, things got to change for these modern times or whatnot." Which, I definitely think it's a good modern day story. How things of the past, don't really apply to nowadays, I guess. But I don't know. I'm not really sure how I feel about him being a twist villain, but I will say I do like how they kind of tie that in there with like as the season went on, we saw more of the flashback sequences. How we see, especially whenever they're on like that little the rock maze on the island. How sequentially him and his brother's relationship starts falling apart. But also I forgot to mention, after they get their powers, like the island like disappears and the people in their boat like, "What?" And then you see them fly down. That was pretty awesome. But the modern day timeline, blah blah blah, at the end they fight the guy at the prison, Paragon, and Utopian, and then Utopian's pretty much just gonna let his son die because of the code. But we see him start to fire up his laser vision, so we know that he's gonna he would kill him to save his son, but his son has his eyes closed and don't really know that because something happens, when they win, and then Utopian's like, "Son, I was gonna, I wouldn't let him kill you," and his son's like, "Yeah, I know," and like, and then because pretty much Walt's whole plan, Brainwave's whole plan is like to split him and his son apart because he thinks that Utopian or Sheldon's not too good at his job. Which I love Josh Duhamel, and honestly, it's almost unrecognizable as him when he's like the older superhero version of himself. But overall though, I think this show's pretty great. It's not as good as Umbrella Academy. I'll say it's definitely a tier below that, but as for Netflix shows, but like that 1929 timeline, like the whole origin story is the thing that kept me going through the show. And, I don't really know how I really feel about the other stuff. Cause like when we were on the other side, I was like, okay, can we get back to this, this flashback sequence? So I don't really know how I'm going to feel. I'm definitely watching a season 2 when it comes out, but yeah, I don't know. I might have to rewatch the show just get a good read on it. But as of right now, I'm gonna give the show I'll do it a 7.9 out of 10 just because those flashback sequences were just so great. But the rest kind of bored me a little bit. But I love Josh Duhamel though. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about Jupiter's Legacy down below. Do you guys think there'll be a second season? I want to say they already greenlit it, but I'm not too sure. But check out my Twitter and Discord, link in the description. Like and subscribe for more. Check out some other videos. I'll see you guys later. Bye.